Okay, we're almost done here actually. I'm going to start setting up the next thing. Are there any questions?
Mic check.
Hey, I can hear you.
Well, even Charlie.
Okay, so no questions. Then I will start. Ah, man. Um, that yeah, we're gonna start our one of our final topics here. We're just almost at the hour mark here, which is perfect. And the next thing I want to talk about is our rules and standards in SKL. Right? We talked about giving people a positive experience, but I want to quickly go over the specifics of what that means. And what you can see is what we in SKL, right? If you're in SKL in this platoon, or you're not in SKL, if you're not in SKL but you're in this platoon, it just helps everyone have an understanding of what we expect in our platoons, um, and what you can know to call out what's acceptable, what's not. Um, you can find these rules on our Discord under our rules channel, but I'll go over them quickly here. Right? So uh, no racism of any kind, no harassment of any kind, no fighting verbally or in text chat, right? You're wearing the SKL tag when you're leading, so keep calm, make sure you're not fighting with people, all that good stuff. Um, no exploiting or hacking, so I know there's certain things that can happen. Sometimes it's an accident, and you get into things like that, but don't exploit it. In fact, take a picture or video of where you are and send it to Daybreak and let them know that it happened, but don't exploit it. Rusty Dawn, what's a SKL? SKL is an outfit. It stands for Sokar's Legion, and it's been around for quite a few years, and I'm really happy it's a thing. Yeah, no, Sokar's Legion. So yeah, really, really awesome. But yeah, no exploiting or hacking, no spamming, so that can be in our voice chat, or in our text chats. Yeah, um, don't do that. Our voice chat specifically is mostly used for announcements and such, so that's something you saw me doing just before the start of this training. Um, but you can ask questions and such in the text channels. Just don't, like, yes, even in our platoons, right? I mean, it's probably the most common reason that you'll remove people is just they won't stop talking. They're talking over the PL. They're talking over the squad lead. Just spamming things and make it really hard for everyone to communicate. Um, so if that happens, you can absolutely remove people for that. Right? It's spam. It's not welcome. It's unhelpful. So don't do it. No purposeful, repeated, unwelcome team killing. Right? We understand sometimes you guys are teasing each other and team killing each other, um, but don't do it on purpose. Right? If you're mad at someone, hold your fire, log off, do whatever you need to do, but don't get mad at them. Don't team kill them. It is against the rules, and we don't hold that in SKL. Sometimes people can see you teasing each other and having fun and such, um, and so just make sure that you're telling everyone why you're doing it and what's going on, because otherwise it looks like someone's angry and is team killing. Um, so understand that. Nothing that violates Rogue Planet Games rules and codes of conduct. Right? I don't need to go through that list here. You guys can find that list online. I'm sure you guys all have read it at some point playing PlanetSide. Um, some of that is reflected in the list that we have in SKL. There is some additional points that get more specific about stuff. Um, but yeah, read up on that if you haven't. It's really important, and we don't want to violate anything that goes against that while we're playing this game and having fun. Nothing that purposely attempts to ruin the enjoyment of others for the sole purpose of ruining that enjoyment. So basically, don't be dumb. Don't do things just to annoy people. Don't, like, there's teasing and then there's annoying people just for the sake of annoying them. Um, don't ruin people's fun. Don't, it's honestly, that kind of goes like under sportsmanship, right? This is a game. We're all here to compete for the alert or for the base or whatever it is. And so a common theme that I want to give an example for there is early morning, when not many bases are open and people are just trying to get together for fights and stuff. at least two factions to get to a base have to bring up Sunderers, right? We all have that urge to go to the Sunder and kill it because that's the objective, right? It stops the spawns, it wins the fight. Um, but in terms of sportsmanship, like I will sometimes just see a Sunder. I'll notice that I'm getting really close to their Sunder or I found it or whatever, and I'll just walk away. I'll walk away. I'll go to our spawn again and I'll restart. I'll give them a chance to come back because if I kill the spawn, that kills the fun, and then people have to come back again and spawn a new Sunder. Um, right? So it's all about just having that sportsmanship, and having the understanding that yes, you could kill the Sunderer, but if it's just gonna kill, what's left of the game during that early morning or whatever, don't bother. It does very little. You don't actually win the fight because when there's so little population on the continent anyway, there's hardly a fight to begin with. So don't do it. It's during alerts and stuff like that. Sure, like that's what's going to get you the win. But early morning, you're farming. So that's a good example, right there of what we're talking about.
Farm the people spawning, not the Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, there's yeah. So the only time I would ever condone killing Sunders is if like you're at 8-1 pop for your side and there's one Sunday left, where like obviously it's doesn't make any sense to ask all of your allies and yourself to run all the way back to spawn, and like it takes longer to do that than it would to just kill the Sunder and have a restart or start a new base. So if the opponent is just getting farmed and like there's just obviously nothing going on but a farm for your side, yeah, okay, fine, kill the Sunday. It makes them get a new Sunday back or go to a new base or whatever, and things can restart from there. So just look at the situation. Is it good sportsmanship? Is it bad sportsmanship? Be thinking about that kind of stuff and go from there. So, a couple of final notes to go over before we wrap up here. If someone can, please stop that accordion bomb. Um, but yeah, kind of want to sum up a lot of the stuff we've been talking about here, right? So, be in the right state of mind. Don't lead when you're feeling negative or having a bad day. Um, give people a positive experience. Do whatever you need to do to make that happen, whether that's laughing off a double team or, you know, rolling with whatever happens. Go for the alert, go casual, whatever you want to do, but give people a good experience and make sure you're in the right frame of mind to do that. If there's stuff that happened in your day that's going to detract from that, don't lead, right? It's just super simple. Don't lead if you're having a bad day. Um, and in SKL, right, our big thing is helping new players, right? Is giving them that experience that's going to keep them coming back and learning the game. Because Planetside has a rather large learning curve, right? There's a lot that goes on in this game. There's a lot to it, and so a big thing that we want to help our leads be able to do, our platoon leads, our squad leads, is to teach, to mentor, right? During your platoon, you can call out different things like, "Hey, this is how this works," or "This is why we're doing this," or call out different things. This thing is happening, and here's why, so and so. Right? I remember having a whole lot of questions when I first started this game, and if I hadn't had the fortune of joining SKL off the bat, I would not know as much as I do a year later. It's fantastic, what can happen when you teach and mentor people. It brings a whole lot more fun to the game, and yeah, we really, really need it in this game. It's so important. That said, there does come a point and a way that you might do it where you might backseat people. Um, it's important if you're an experienced lead to know to not backseat newer leads, right? You can give them all kinds of information and give them all the right directions, and you can be doing it with good intentions. But if you do it the wrong way or you do it too often, it can come off as just making yourself really seem really smart and putting the PL or SL down. Um, so yes, you're really experienced. For a lot of us, we can be really experienced leads and we can be in people's platoons. But if you're not the leader in that platoon, then you shouldn't be leading, right? That's someone else's job. You're there to click heads, to deploy, to make things happen. Um, and you can offer advice. You can send a tell to the platoon leader, to the squad lead, and say, "Hey, I can see you're a new lead. Do you want some advice?" And if they say no, then it's no, right? But if they say, "Yeah, I'd love some advice," then the door is open and you can help them. But if you do it the wrong way, it can seem like backseat leading, and that can actually do a whole lot to impact the mood of the platoon. You're impacting the leads, so they feel bad and they feel down, which then affects the rest of the platoon, and it's just a vicious cycle that happens there. So really, really watch what kind of advice you give people and how you're doing it. Yeah. So last couple of notes. The other thing we don't want to see, right, kind of goes hand in hand with having a bad day or not, is there is a button, and sometimes this happens by accident, but I want to put it in the frame that's going to be most useful here, is under the leave platoon button for our squad leads, there is also a squad leave button or something like that name. And what that does is it removes your squad from the platoon entirely. It makes it an individual squad. It removes it from the platoon, um, and it's just not acceptable, right? You can't take squad leave platoon. There we go. Thank you, Black Dragon. Um, you know, like it's happened sometimes. It doesn't happen often, but it's very, very rude and inappropriate. If, like, I understand if things are going really badly, but you're the squad lead, it's a lot better if you just lead the platoon yourself. Don't steal the squad. Um, right? It's just not something we want to do. It creates more tension. It just creates more problems. Like I said, that can happen by accident. Sometimes it's very closely named to how you just lead the platoon yourself, and when that happens, then it's a mistake, and just join up with the platoon again, and everything's fine. Um, but just want you to understand um, what's allowed there, what's not.
If you're a squad leader and you rage quit, that happens sometimes.
Yep, exactly. Well, and so that's why it's important to catch yourself before you get to that point, right? No one likes seeing you rage quit, and when you've reached that red line, if you see yourself at all starting to fall or um, be at all falling and feeling negative or whatever, leave. Right? Just hey guys, I'm feeling exhausted or fatigued or whatever. I need someone to take the squad lead, and I'm gonna take a break. Right? I will much rather. I will be so proud seeing people do that than waiting out, trying to strong arm it and just go through it, because it doesn't do anything. Like I said, like it just makes um, it makes things more difficult for the platoon. You're not giving people a good experience, so you're detracting from the platoon. So much better to say, hey guys, like I can't do this anymore. I'm just having a hard time, exhausted, fatigue, whatever the reason is. But hand over the squad lead to someone who wants to take it and then leave. Um, so definitely be thinking about that. Okay. Some final notes, and I've said that twice now, so my apologies. But I want to talk specifically about squad leading and what your job is to the platoon lead. It's one of my favorite topics, and it's the one I want to end on. Um, and it's that we as leaders are carrying the platoon, right? That's your job as the leads, as the squad leads, as the platoon lead, is to bring people to where they need to go and explain how to get there. Um, a common phrase that we call that by is to herd your cats, right? That's probably very familiar. Assist your platoon lead in that. Don't create confusion by telling people to go here and then, oh, the platoon lead said this, um, and so that contradicts because you didn't ask. So always ask your platoon lead before you take your squad somewhere. Um, it just makes things a lot easier. But you are in charge of your squad. If my goodness, guys. You're in charge of your squad, right? If you have people from your squad at a base where they're not supposed to be, don't wait for the platoon lead to call them out and say, hey, can you get with so and so squad? We're not supposed to be at whatever base that they're at. That's your job as the squad lead, not the platoon lead's job. It's yours. So if you see people at another base, you should be the one calling them out and saying, hey, we're not supposed to be at that base. Come to us. This is where things are happening. And again, if they're not listening, whatever, then we get into how to remove people, which like I said, is something for another time. You want to have some skills down, right? As a squad lead, like obviously we're here to learn to lead and such. But in terms of in-game skills, you do want a basic amount of knowledge on how to do stuff, right? You need to know how to deploy vehicles, how to fly at least a little bit, so you can get in the galaxy and drop people. But if you don't know those things, then you should at least try and get as comfortable as you can delegating those tasks to people who are comfortable with it. But definitely try and make sure you have a basic understanding of the game. Spend some time running around. There's lots of videos and stuff online about the game, but also on leadership specifically. A couple of my favorite ones. One of my favorite ones is actually by Kamikaze78 on squad leading. He does a very nice job of explaining stuff. Yeah, so for sure, definitely look at that. So yeah, little summary here, right? We talked about what it means to be a leader in SKL. We talked about the expectations, the rules and such. We talked about how to open squads and stuff like that. We talked about different directions, map awareness. So we talked about a lot today. I'm really glad we can cover it in just under an hour, just around an hour. So I want to take a few minutes to answer questions and such. But that is everything I have to teach here officially. So the training will be wrapping up here, and I'll just be taking questions and such until we're ready to go. So thank you all for listening to me ramble on for an hour. Sami, I'm watching for a chat. I know you can't talk as much at the moment, but feel free to input stuff here as well. And yeah, thank you all so much for coming.